So yes guys, what is going on? And welcome back to another video. So yeah, it's been a while since we've had a DriveCast, which is great, not really great, but for me I see it as if I'm making regular content, different fresh content, then obviously the DriveCast is going to be less and less. But sometimes it's nice just to have a catch up and just to talk about things that are on my mind, things that are talking topic of comments of previous videos. So yeah, today's topic is going to be new versus old, and I'm not just talking about technology, I'm talking about looks, I'm talking about driving experience, talking about character. And this conversation has actually been built off the back of my review. So I reviewed a Motec G42 M240i xDrive, and a lot of the comments were good. We had a lot of interactions with people in the DM saying, yeah, we love it, we liked it. And a few people said, yeah, sure, it might be great, but it doesn't really look nice, the rear doesn't look nice, this, that. And I did have a think to myself, and I said, you know what, it's got to be a conversation. And I had a great response on Instagram, and I'm probably going to mention a few of those in the video today. Shout out to Williams Performance as well. Marsh is messaging me now telling me he wants to put 700 brake horsepower through my car, but we'll catch up with him in a short while. But yeah, straight off the bat, a lot of people were saying old, and it's good to hear people appreciate the old. And a few of the things were sound. The older cars obviously sound better than the newer cars because of the OPS and all the emission laws and the sound laws. We have to quiet down the cars. And something which was a valid point is you can drive those sort of cars, and I'm talking about the E46 and the E92, quite hard without losing your license. You jump in, I don't know, even this, a B58 bone stock, and you put your foot down, you're at 70 mile an hour just like that. The 0 to 60 speeds are getting a bit too silly to a point where everyone's just going to thrash it when they don't need to, go through, I don't know, 60 mile an hour roads at 80 when they don't need to, and that's simply because the car's probably a bit too powerful. And we're in a modern age, like, no one's complaining about power, but it's a valid, really strong valid point. Older cars were so much easier to fully drive because they were, I think the power ratio was more suitable, if that makes any sense. Another key word that was thrown around a lot was it was soulless. So excuse me guys, the clunking on these plates are quite bad. On roads like this, there's going to be a lot of clunking. But character, newer cars don't have much character, and I know we can throw an exhaust, you can get, I don't know, a Chiztech mod, or we can get a back box or Remus on there, and it will sound better. But you stand at the side of a road and you hear an S58 go past, and then you hear an E92 V8 go past, or even the E46, and you'll be drooling. We know you'll be drooling, lads. It's character, and it's that original BMW sound that we all love, that metallic sound from the E46, that strong, brute, in-your-face sound of the E92 that cannot be replicated no matter what we do. And I know the S55 has got these equal length mid pipes, and the S58 has got loads of opportunities, but there's no denying the older cars sounded absolutely amazing. Another point for the old was that the lines, everyone was saying that the lines of the car just made more sense. The car didn't look like it was trying to cut through air at the speed of light. It was more about it being smooth and silky, and they've said that they are quite sharp lines, and this is it. With a BMW, you're looking at a company that's like known for motorsport, a company that's known for pure power, so they're not really going to be looking to make things look cuddly and sweet like, I don't know, a Honda Jazz for example. But you go ahead and look at something totally different like a Lamborghini, you won't find a soft line on that, because the aim of that car is for it to look as aggressive as possible. And I'm quite sure BMW try and balance that out. And in my opinion, and I'll touch on my opinion properly at the end, I can't see anything wrong with the design. Sure, it's going to take a while, but I've said this time and time again, stop comparing old car looks to new, because they are always going to be different. Compare it to anything else in the market, and then you can say whether it's nice or not. Simples. A very good point. I think this is from my mate Rafi, guys. Reliability. So if you look at the newer BMWs, some of them, anyway, as far as I know, can take crazy amounts of power to a point when you could even be calling it bulletproof. I don't know whether you want to call it bulletproof, but you could be calling it bulletproof. So I just had to show that person what time it is. Yeah, the 2 Series as well. They don't have what I had, and if you guys are curious to see, I'm gonna give you a little look. You'd notice that I'm on my way back from Auto ID, so I've shot a video there, and we've also made some changes to the M240i, so make sure you subscribe for that. But yeah, in terms of performance, you're going to get more performance from a modern car. They've had more time to improve it, which is normal, which is natural. You look at, I don't know, Formula 1, for example, every year there's improvements, apart from McLaren. Sorry mate, not McLaren, Mercedes, sorry about that, Lou. But yeah, it's gonna be a better performing car each and every year. And if you're somebody that's into gadgets and technology, then you're gonna fancy the new one more than the old one. Also, reliability. You can get an S58 and not really have to worry about anything. And I know the S55 had all of the crank hub stuff and bits and bobs like that, but we're at a stage now where reliability is key. You're already going to outlay quite a lot of money to buy the car. You don't really want to go into looking at maintenance plus, which isn't just your standard oil and services and stuff like that. You're looking at, I don't know, drastic changes to the engine, the crank hub, the sump on the N55, for example. So I think the newer cars in that sense are always going to be a better option for people that are up to date with technology and just want that reliability, because you're never going to go wrong with that. A lot of the comments were for old, and a lot of it was down to sound. And like I said, this is something that any real petrol head has to admit. The older cars definitely sound better than the newer cars. If you're gonna sit there and say that the newer cars sound better, sorry, but the shish kebab that you have inhaled through your nostrils was the wrong one. You should have got the cough there. You should have got the cough there. Forget the lamb, forget the chicken. You should have got the cough there. What in Jesus' name is that? Catering, very nice. Followed up by Ibiza, very nice. So those were the main comments. There was quite a lot of comments, but everybody ended up repeating themselves, hence why I probably didn't share all of the comments. But the biggest thing for an old car, like this is, most people are saying that the old's better than the new, and it was simply for the sound. Sure, there's some people could say the looks, but majority was saying the sound. And like I said, it's no fault of a new car that it sounds like a Dyson. It's regulations, and we have to obey the regulations that we're currently presented with. And if we look at, I don't know, how can I say it, a straight 6 back in the day and a straight 6 now, they're never going to sound the same, and that's something we need to accept. And if you look at the looks, technology has advanced to a point where, I don't know, they have to have the car in a certain way. They've added more coolers to the car, and if you've added more coolers to the car, then obviously you're gonna have to have more vents in the car. And if you have more vents in the car, you need to channel the engine and channel all of the ducts in the car, and anywhere that you've got cutouts to ensure that the air is actually passing through there. Hence why you get bigger grills, hence why you got, I don't know, angles that don't really add up. And this is something that isn't going to make sense to the modern day Bob, but it's something that obviously the marketing team and obviously the design team have all thought about before they've went ahead and built the car. And if we look at new, and by chance look at this beautiful F83 cabriolet, F83 M4, and you'd say straight away, reasons for that, apart from the crank hub in the S55, is features. The traction control system is probably advanced way beyond what you'd find on the E46 or E92. For example, the MDM feature, when you press that button and it gives you halfway house, so traction just slackened off a tiny bit. I'm sure on the E92 and on the F8 chassis, which is the 2, 3 and M4 series, you'd probably get more MDM out of that than you would out of an E chassis, and that's simply because technology has advanced. If you're looking at reliability, that engine will probably go a lot longer than what an E46 and an E92 would, because I think if you look at the E92, the first thing people always think about is rod bearings. On this, if you don't tune it, as far as I know anyway, you ain't got to worry about nothing. You ain't got to worry about nothing, and that's something that is really key. I would much rather choose out of an E46 and an E92 and E92, simply because number one, it's newer, which in my head means it should be more reliable, because they normally make improvements every year as opposed to things to destroy a car. And number two, it's more modern. So the iDrive, I know it's not going to be anything like this or even the newer one, but the iDrive would be better. It'd be a more enjoyable experience to play around with inside. In terms of driving it, which one would I prefer? In my opinion, I would prefer, if money wasn't an option, obviously I'm going to go for an M2 CS. I just love the 2 Series chassis, hence why I'm in the poverty spec M2. But I would say it would have to be an E92 or an M2 CS. I feel like a comp is great, but I would much rather have a bit of sound and still have an M car. That's the best way. And I know you could probably get an exhaust and everything, but if you're talking about out of the box, you're not looking to tune, you're not looking to do anything, you just want to get bog standard, no Adrian Flux modified insurance, you just want bone standard insurance. E92 is where it's at, done. Don't worry about getting an exhaust, don't worry about tuning it because you've got a lovely rev range. That's where it would be for me. And I know everyone's in different age brackets, and the older heads will probably say, yeah, the older stuff's better, but you've got to be realistic. We're in 2022 now. If you were driving around in E92 or E46, sure, it's going to get appreciated. But if you pull up in an M5 CS, everyone's head's looking. Everyone's head's looking. So guys, we're going to end the video there. Please engage, get involved in the comment section. I will be getting involved as well. I'm quite sure it's going to be a strong talking topic, fingers crossed anyway. But guys, as usual, if you've enjoyed this DriveCast, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. God bless.